Howdy there, strangers. Welcome to the SpaceX live stream today. It's OneWeb. We'll talk about that here in a second, but first, you know the routine. Muster up, where you from, what you munching on. First place I saw was Spain. Howdy, Spain. Oregon is live. What's up, Oregon? Canada. What's going on, Canada?
Welcome to French Canada.
Jacksonville, Florida. Stockton, California. I was gonna do a California soundbite for this one, but I just ran out of time. I'll hit you back on the next one. All right. Hey, what's going on, buddy? I got Peeps here with me. We'll get to the dogs here in a second. Let's see. Norfolk, New England, London, UK.
You sound like you're from London.
Perfect. Nailed that one. Colorado, Longview, Texas.
I pulled him out of a place on Midgard called Texas.
These dogs are drooling all over my lap right now. I'm a little discombobulated with all that's going on. Tampa Bay, Florida, New Mexico. Breaking Bad territory, right? Vermont, Hudson, Ohio. We got another Ohioan. Of course, I'm Kevin from Ohio, so we'll do this for both of us.
We're the Manchester United fan club from Ohio
and Southern California. Welcome, everybody. Eating protein in Europe. Good for you. You getting your protein from bugs? Australia. Okay, I got to do Australia as well.
Austria. Well then, good day, mate.
I use that one for both Austria and Australia. We get more Australians in the chat, though, than we do Austria. Locals members, I do have the locals chat open if you want to partake there so I can see you more easily. All right, so let's go big screen and we'll talk about today's mission. Actually, let's go doggo cam first because I said I'd get the doggos in here, but they're kind of hiding behind my desk. All right, I know how to get them out. We're going to get Jeb out there, my co-host Jeb. Go get him, Wiley. Go get Jeb. He took him.
They took our jibs.
Bring him here. Good boy. Bring him here. Don't chew on him. House. Okay, let go now. Gross. All right, poor Jeb. Yeah, I know you want him back. All right, so this is a OneWeb mission. They're launching, I believe it's 40 OneWeb satellites for their own constellation. It's like a Starlink competitor. But the reason that SpaceX is you bonking your head on the mic, are you weirdo? He needs a helmet. You need a helmet and Ritalin, Wiley. The reason that SpaceX is launching OneWeb satellites now is because the Ukraine-Russia war, and Russia lost a lot of customers because of it, and OneWeb was one of them. I don't know if they ever got their satellites back from Russia after the whole war started, but so that's when OneWeb turned to SpaceX. So they're frenemies doing each other or doing OneWeb favors. I don't know if I've ever seen this guy, Atticus Verdera, propulsion engineer. I think he's new. Let's see what he sounds like.
Two-stage rocket, which stands 230 feet or 70 meters tall, which is roughly 20 meters taller than the Arc de Triomphe in Paris, France, which is about 40 meters tall.
Cool. Yeah, we'll talk more about the booster here in a second. Will Jeb make it to space someday? Actually, Jeb has already been to space. Not my Jeb, not this Jeb, but this plush toy has been to space. I want to say it rode on Orion, or was it Starliner? It was one of those. I can't remember which. You can correct me in the chat. All right. So the booster looks a little sooty, a little dirty. She's a dirty girl. That's because this is its 13th mission. It flew 12 times before. And they're launching from Slick 40, Cape Canaveral, Florida. All right. Weather looks pretty decent there in Florida. I like it. It's beautiful here in Ohio. It's blue skies. It's nicer weather here than in Florida. Be gel. Don't be gel. Call it jelly scoop. Okay. Yeah. She looks pretty sweet. We're going to turn him back up here in a second. It was Starliner? Okay. We'll go with Will. Thanks, Will. If he's wrong, blame Will. What's going on, Croatia, South Africa? Good to have you here.
Loading RP1 on the first stage. Below that second stage, we have the interstage, which is actually part of the first stage. And as you can see on your screen, the carbon fiber interstage is a distinct black color because it is unpainted TPS, or thermal protection system. Now, this protects the composite material that the interstage is made out of. At the very bottom of the first stage, there are 9 Merlin 1D engines that will get Falcon 9 off the ground and up into the thinner parts of the Earth's atmosphere. And shortly after liftoff, the first and second stages will physically separate from one another, and then the second stage will continue to orbit, while the first stage will start making its way back down to Earth. The first stage is designed to be reflown multiple times with minimal refurbishment between flights. And today's first stage will actually be flying for the 13th time, and will be attempting to land at landing zone 1, which is not too far from the launch pad. On your screen right now is a live view of that landing zone. And if we are successful in recovering the booster today, it will mark the 177th successful recovery of an orbital class rocket. And lastly, that large
tanks are pressurizing for strong back retract.
That large truss structure you see there is the transporter erector, or TE. We use it to roll the rocket out to the pad and raise it to its vertical launch position. Now, the TE also routes the vehicle's fluids, power, and telemetry umbilicals from the ground systems to the rocket and the satellites, and this is until Falcon 9 goes on internal power and clears the pad.
Yeah, so this guy's doing a pretty good job hosting. I think this is his first time. I don't know. I haven't seen him before. But SpaceX actually has an internal interview process with their employees to see if they can actually do the job of hosting these live streams. I have a friend once that actually, he was a SpaceX, used to work for SpaceX and applied for the job. Didn't get it. So I guess it's somewhat a competitive position to have. I don't know how much more money they get for doing it, But again, I don't know if I've ever seen this guy before.
From Falcon 9.
A lot of new
as it lifts
faces.
off.
A lot of new faces lately.
You can see those clamp arms opening there just below the fairing. Now the first stage is connected to a launch mount at the base of the transporter erector, but the structure is hinged, so it will retract away from the vehicle in preparation for launch. You heard that call out earlier for the strong back retraction sequence beginning, but here in just a few seconds you should see that strong back begin to actually recline away from Falcon 9.
You don't love on me all day, and now you're loving on me once I'm going live?
We are waiting for TE retraction, and it's a beautiful day in Cape Canaveral, Florida.
Stage 1 LOX load is complete.
Now at this point in the countdown, you just
And
heard
stage 1 POGO.
you heard the call out that stage 1 LOX load is complete, and stage 2 LOX loading should finish up just about a minute later at T-2 minutes, at which point both the first and second stages will be fully loaded with about 1 million pounds of kerosene and liquid oxygen. Now those white clouds that you see forming around the Falcon are expected. We do begin to vent the chilled gas above the LOX tank liquid surface to maintain the pressures that we need. And you can see around the first and second stages that as we load that super chilled liquid oxygen, it is causing condensation and clouds to form in the humid Florida air.
He's a little ankle biter. Poor Peeps. Just sit on him, Peeps. Sit on his face.
Second stage LOX
Wiley,
loading
stop.
should be completing here shortly. And at T-minus 60 seconds,
Stage 2 LOX load is complete.
there is that call out for stage 2 LOX loading complete. And at T-minus 60 seconds, Falcon 9 will be in startup. So this means the rocket's autonomous internal flight computers will take over the launch countdown. And just inside of T-minus 2 seconds, we light the Merlin 1D engines
Launch gas, close that.
for liftoff.
A lot of Californians in the chat today.
The
I should have had
OneWeb
that
Launch
soundbite
17
ready. I
payload continues to be
apologize.
healthy, and the Falcon 9 team is tracking no issues on the rocket. Weather is looking green, and the range is ready to support today's launch. We do have a backup opportunity tomorrow, March 10th at 2:08 p.m., but we are proceeding into the final minute of terminal count.
You won't leave him alone. Just leave him alone.
Falcon 9 is in startup.
Falcon 9 is in startup.
LD, go for launch.
We have that final go for launch. All systems are go for launch on Falcon 9 with the OneWeb Launch 17 mission payload.
LD is launch director.
T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 15.
Lawyer wife is working downstairs doing lawyer stuff.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just full power. And liftoff. OneWeb 3.
To space.
Vehicle's pitching downrange.
Stage 1 propulsion is nominal.
Aloha, Hawaii.
Nominal power and telemetry.
A little blurry today, huh? Maybe I just need glasses now, I don't know.
Falcon 9 has successfully lifted off from Pad 40 at Cape Canaveral, carrying the
Vehicle is
OneWeb
supersonic.
Launch 17 payload. Now we're still going up, but we're also heading horizontally away from the launch pad. And coming up in just a few seconds here, we will be approaching the point of max Q. There we go, call out for that there. At the point of max Q, we throttle the Merlin 1D engines down briefly to reduce the loads on the vehicle. We've now throttled the engines back up to full power, and this will help us continue to accelerate towards low Earth orbit. The rocket typically needs to go about 17,500 miles per hour.
MVAC engine chill has started.
Good call out there for MVAC engine chill. We need to go about 17,500 miles per hour horizontally in order to avoid being pulled back down to Earth and actually get into orbit. So keep an eye on that stage 1 telemetry at the bottom of your screen. Now coming up, we're going to have 5 events in very quick succession. Those are main engine cutoff, or MECO, stage separation, stage 1 flip, second engine start 1, boost back burn, and then from there, the fairing halves will separate.
What's going on, Buck Fighting?
So keep an eye out for those events. Again, starting with main engine cutoff. Coming up on that point in just about 15 seconds here, so let's listen in for that.
If you're just joining us, the first stage will land back at LZ1, so it should be pretty sweet views coming up in a few minutes. This cam is inside the inner stage looking up
Main
the
engine cutoff.
bell of that engine nozzle for the
Stage separation
Merlin
confirmed.
vacuum engine of the second stage, and there she goes.
MVAC ignition. Stage 1 boost back startup.
And there you go. You just heard and saw main engine cutoff, stage separation, stage 1 flip, and second engine start 1. Now we are in the middle of the boost back burn, which you can see on the left side of your screen there. That first stage has flipped around and is burning 3 of its Merlin 1D engines to head back towards the launch site, while the MVAC on the right is pushing the second stage into low Earth orbit. Now today's mission is what we call a RTLS, or return to launch site. And that's actually where we return the first stage back to a landing pad that is actually very close to where we took off from. Now this burn should last about 50 seconds, so we have about 10 seconds left in the boost back burn. Both stages continue to look nominal.
Stage 1 boost back shutdown.
And there we go, just had confirmation of successful boost back burn shutdown. Coming up next in just a few seconds, we will separate those fairing halves and should get a good view of our payload.
Bearing separation confirmed.
There we go, just had successful confirmation of boost back burn end and the successful separation of both the fairing halves from the second stage. Now both of these halves on today's mission are flying for the 6th time, and we will be attempting to retrieve them again today once they fall back to Earth using our recovery vessel, Bob.
Are we not live again? Holy cow, we are definitely not live. I'm 3 minutes behind. We're just going to roll with it. Screw it. I don't know how that happens, but it's annoying. So these poofs you see here, those are the cool gas nitrogen thrusters. All right, so that's what pushes the rocket around until it enters the atmosphere, where these grid fins, these titanium grid fins will take over. And those will help steer the rocket, in this case, toward LZ1 for a coastal landing. And then on the right-hand side of your screen, you have that glowing pumpkin, as Fox Pup likes to call it. And that's pushing the payload, the OneWeb satellites, to orbit around Earth.
With the center E9 engine, followed shortly by the E1 and E5 engines, which are all in a row. And this slows the vehicle down as it passes into the Earth's atmosphere.
We can probably catch up
Now
a
we
little
do the
bit.
entry burn in
Watch this.
our
No spoilers, chat.
vehicles 4 and 5 at Starlink.
Here comes the entry
Stage 1
burn.
entry burn startup.
We'll just watch the
There is
rest of
the
it from
start
here.
of the entry burn.
Stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
Good entry burn from the first stage.
Stage 1 FTS is saved.
Maybe we'll lick a cloud.
Flight
Yeah, let's lick
termination
some
system
clouds,
is
brah.
staged for stage 1. You can see those
The
attitude
RCS
control
working.
thrusters on
Yeah.
the first stage firing there.
Both vehicles continue to follow nominal trajectories.
Both first and
Fast.
second stages are looking good. And our next milestone is the Stage 1 landing bird, which is coming all the way back to landing zone 1 in Cape Canaveral, starting in about 15 seconds here.
Stage 1 transonic.
Stage 2 FTS is safed.
Stage 1 landing burn.
Start of our Stage 1 landing burn. That's great drone footage of the first stage that you can see on the right-hand side of your screen.
For the sonic boom. Maybe. Doesn't sound like they have the audio
Incredible views from first stage.
turned in.
Coming down on
Stage
landing
1
zone.
landing and
Tuned in.
deploy.
That's awesome. Where's the audio at?
That was
Please
a
clap.
beautiful
Stage 1
landing
landing approach.
beautiful landing of the first stage, and there you have it. That landing marks
Stage 2 is in terminal guidance.
That landing marks SpaceX's 177th recovery of an orbital class rocket, including the first stage landings of Falcon 9 and Heavy. And now back to stage 2. Stage 2 is looking good with just about 10 seconds left before second engine cutoff 1.
What's going on, Mark Kreider? Master Chief Mark. Will, sonic boom just shook my house. Lucky. Only shaking my house does is when I fall down the stairs.
Heard that call out for MVAC shutdown. We're just waiting on confirmation of a good orbit.
Nominal orbit insertion.
You just heard that good call out for nominal orbital insertion. But the mission isn't over yet. The second stage is now embarking on its first coast phase. Now, after this coast phase, we will relight that MVAC engine for a second time around the T plus 55-minute mark. So we'll see you back here in about 45 minutes.
No, you won't. You won't see me. But if you want to see that, though, I put a link in the description to this direct live stream of SpaceX's, so you can watch, the rest of the coast phase and the deployment. Maybe if they get to show those. But it's Thursday, so I do my SpaceX in the News episodes today, so I can release some tomorrow. Make sure you tune in for it. Talk a little bit of Starship news that Elon revealed this week. Good stuff. I don't know how. This is twice now that my live stream somehow got behind. I don't know how that happens. It was live when I started my recording. That's annoying, though. You guys have an awesome Thursday. You're almost to the weekend, man. Like 24 hours and you're basically there. All right. You can do it. I have faith in you. Yeah, it's kind of a bummer that they didn't have the audio turned up on that re-entry so we could hear the sonic boom. But you Floridians, I guess you got an eyewitness account of it. Luckies. You guys have a nominal Thursday night, and I'll see you back here tomorrow for SpaceX in the News. Until that time, Godspeed.